The hero of our story had spent his entire life in the warm, wet indoors, when one day the walls started closing in on him, pushing him out. He feared he was dying, but he survived. The air outside was so cold, but at least he was close to the one out of whom he came. After a few days, he was brought to his home. Besides for the woman who birthed him, there were other big people around him much of the time, and he got the sense that they loved him, for no one ever did him any harm. One man was around particularly often, and though he wasn't smooth and soft like the baby's mother, he seemed to think he had special privileges with him. At 8 days old, the baby was taken from his home, surrounded by many, many people, and for the first time, they did do him harm. At least, that's how it felt. On that day, too, he earned the name Shmaya. Throughout the first few months, Shmaya slept a lot. During those times, he could forget about the cold and confusing world outside and return to the familiar one in which he had spent most of his life. Where do you go when your eyes droop closed? When you smile for a moment and crinkle your nose? Clench up your fists and clutch at your hair as your brow paints a portrait of despair. It's empty reflex, they say to me, but it moves me like watching the world's saddest movie. It's empty. Little by little, Shmaya was taken outside and shown the world. Outside quickly became his favorite place to be. There was sky and trees and plants, and among them Shmaya felt at ease. There were also many animals, of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Shmaya himself was in many ways still more animal than human. He had no concern for how he appeared to others. In fact, he was so wrapped up in his own experience, he didn't even realize that he appeared to others. He only knew what he needed and desired.
Poor banana.
He did not linger on the past. In fact, the womb was already a distant memory. Even the pain from his 8th day was long forgotten. He did not have any worries about the future either. Because he knew someone else was in charge, he had peace of mind. Sharing so much with the animals, Shmaya always had good company at home. Sometimes, new babies like himself were born. They were on their feet in no time, unlike little Shmaya, who was only slowly gaining control of his own body. Shmaya could see that others were much more capable than he, but he did not pay this much mind. Because he had no expectations to succeed, he wasn't disappointed if he didn't. For such a small, inexperienced person, life was a series of challenges, a big adventure in which he was the star. But life had a rhythm too, and with time, Shmaya learned what to expect. Bedtime, 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 First thing in the morning, he breastfed. Then he and his mother talked to the recurring cast of people on the screen. Every morning they milked the goat. Let's go, milk that goat, milk her good, milk her slow. Let's go, milk that goat, milk her good, milk her thorough. Let's go, milk that goat. Throughout the long orange season, they picked every day. Let's go, milk that goat. Meals were frequent enough that Shmaya rarely felt hunger. Let's go. There was a time for exercise. Milk her good, milk her slow. Let's go, milk that goat. There was a time for yoga. Milk her thorough. Let's go, milk that goat, milk her good, milk her thorough. Let's and sometimes, if the schedule permitted, Shmaya and his father took the sheep out to pasture. Shmaya napped twice a day, but since all his favorite activities entailed being awake, he considered it a worthwhile challenge to see who broke first, he or his mother. Time for a nap, time for a nap, time for a nap for Shmaya, Shmaya, oh, time for a nap for time. But when everything involving sleep became routine, and nap time seemed as inevitable as the sunset, it became easy to fall asleep. Indeed, just the lowering of the blinds and the walk to bed exhausted his energies. He was a creature of habit, and he was at peace with the things he could predict. Time for a nap. Home sweet home. The world was beautiful, as far as Shmaya could tell. Home sweet home. He lived, by some miracle, in a grove at the edge of the city. His mother was an aspiring storyteller.
We're trying to enact a natural moment here. Come on, participate with me.
And he loved her from the start. His father was an aspiring shepherd, and Shmaya learned to love him for all the ways he was different from his mother. He had everything he wanted, and if ever he couldn't have something, well, there was always something else in arm's reach just as good. Every day was full of surprises, and he was content, because he did not know there was anything better out there. 10 months after Shmaya was born, his mother had her 30th birthday. Around that time, she found out that a past love of hers, someone whom she had once wanted to marry, was very soon to be wed to another woman. She started to drift away in her mind, imagining him with his soon-to-be wife. She wondered about this woman, who had succeeded in doing what she herself had failed. Then she sailed away on memories of her time with him, memories she hadn't thought of for years. Their friends together, their hangouts, the bus rides she took to see him, old feelings and passions. Home sweet home, 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 sweet home. She missed music, she missed sensuality, she missed intellectual conversations, she even missed the fights. Home sweet home, 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 home. She spent most of the day remembering, and she even found herself dreaming about it at night. She grieved, not only for the life that could not be, but because she realized for the first time the pain that she must have once caused him. She wondered if she had made the best choices.
Ours is the next stop. Ours is the next stop.
These doubts caused her deep and unrelenting sadness. But all of this confused her very much. Shmaya's mother had been happy with his father, and from time to time her love for him grew. She knew that her story, and the story she was writing for Shmaya, was a beautiful one. She knew that she had been happy in it, up until a short time ago, when she started thinking about a story not her own. And it was easy to imagine spectacular things in this other story, which existed only in her head. She realized that the grass is always greener on the other side, in part because you can't see it from up close.
Not in your mouth, Shmaya.
One day, she remembered how even when she had been together with her past love, she used to fantasize about other stories. If she had been happy in that story, she wouldn't have ended it, to come up with a new one. In fact, when she thought about it, leaving him hadn't really felt like a decision, but rather the only way to avoid more sadness. At the time, she had felt that he had given up on them, and not the other way around. But now she realized that he probably felt the decision had been hers. All this left her with only one explanation for how things turned out. They were made to fall apart. Shmaya's mother knew she should be happy in her new life. Now, she could only just feel it in her heart. But it was only after crossing paths with her past love and his new wife that her heart began to feel real joy again.
She doesn't want me around.
These painfully awkward encounters dispelled, without much ado, all the fantasies that had ballooned in her head.
ובכן שביערנו החמץ בביתנו ושרפנו כך תזכנו לבאר היצר הרע מקרבנו תמיד כל ימי חיינו ותזכנו לדבק ביצר הטוב ובתורתך ויראתך ואהבתך תמיד אנו וזרענו וזרע זרענו מעתה ועד עולם כן יהי רצון.
And gradually, as if by request, Shmaya's joy became her joy. She stepped out of the stories that were far away and into the stories she was writing for Shmaya. And her joy came from the same place that Shmaya's did. Not from knowing that she lived in this amazing world because of a series of decisions she had made, but from feeling that she too had been born into it, and from marveling every day at the gifts she had been given.
Shmaya, don't touch.
Your body's here, but you left the room. I wonder, do you still dream of the womb? The air is colder, but people are kind. Do you miss the world that you left behind? Where do you go when your eyes droop closed? The answer's a secret you'll never disclose. This will all be a past life one day, by the time you acquire the words to convey. Where you go when your eyes droop closed. Shmaya, whether he knew it or not, owed his very existence to the precise unfolding of a story that began much earlier than this one. But then again, so did his mother. When your eyes droop closed, where do you go? Shmaya was happy in his story because he still knew someone else had written it. His mother often felt she was the author of her own story, which is the hard part of being an adult. She would have liked to finish the story with a happy ending, to tell Shmaya that she had conquered for good the demons of her past. But she did not intend this as a fairy tale. Baby, you're my baby. Fortunately, the hero of our story showed her every day that, while not guaranteed, a happy ending is available to be written at every given moment. You're my baby, baby, my baby, baby.